Salut, c'est Mathieu de Ludovox et aujourd'hui je suis avec Anthony. Hi Anthony, how's it going for you?
Doing really good.
So, is it your first day of demo?
I've actually been demoing for a couple of days, but this is the first day I've been demoing this game. So, my brain's pretty fried, but GenCon's definitely an event.
So, this is a game that was announced yesterday at the FFG lineup, and it's a game that's called Fury of Dracula. So, how many players can play this?
Up to 5. As little as 2 and up to 5. One person always plays as Dracula, and then either 1 to 4 players play as the hunters, trying to hunt him down.
What's the minimum age that people can play, and how long are the games usually?
As far as age goes, there's kind of appeal to all ages. Generally, the complexity, I would say anyone above, like teenage years on up. An average game takes around 3 hours.
Okay, so it's still a big game. So this is a game where Dracula plays against the other players. And how does Dracula win?
His whole mission is to basically, as he travels the countryside, he'll set up little cities with more vampires, keep them there long enough without them getting staked, and his influence goes up, and try to get your influence all the way up to 13, and you win.
Okay, how does a round of... Well, I guess that the normal players have to kill Dracula, but how do we kill Dracula? How do we play as normal players, and how do we play as Dracula?
Well, as Dracula, I have these cards that show each of the cities. So I start out in one of the cities, but I keep it hidden from the other players, and I put the card down. Then every round that I move that city card up and put a new one down that's one city away. So it's always hidden where I'm going. And then as the hunters move around, if they move through a city that I've already been in, I basically flip that card, show them that I've been there, and they know how long ago I was there to pick up on my trail and try and hunt me down.
And I see 2 card slots here. What are they for?
When I travel through cities, I can also leave ambushes behind in the form of wolves, rats, other vampires, things like that. And when the hunters come into the city, I can choose to either ambush them with those people and fight them to try and, kill them off, or I can leave them hidden and hope that they don't search them out, because then after a certain amount of time of being in the city, it'll get me influence points as my minions take over the cities.
Okay, simple enough. And what can the human players do then?
The human players have different ways. When they find cities, they can search and find those ambushes. They can fight them. If they find me, they can basically enter into combat with me and fight me, and that's their end goal, is to try and kill Dracula. Each character has their own special powers that kind of help the team in different ways. And so it's a lot of cooperation between the 4 players to make the different powers work and pin me down and kind of close the net.
And we can see it's kind of flavorful. For example, Mina is always bitten, so if she gets bitten, she dies. When a character dies, do all the players lose the game?
They don't. If one character dies, they're actually not even out. They just lose all their items, and they go to the nearest hospital. So they actually can still keep in and keep playing and help their team out. It just kind of sets them back a bit. So dying is kind of bad, but it's not the end of the game. So that's kind of nice.
Okay, and how do we fight?
Fighting is actually done through a card system. Every character will have their basic cards that you have in front of you there, the combat cards, and then they'll also have any item cards that also have those type of symbols on the side and different attributes. Then Dracula has his own deck of cards, and you pull 5 random ones and look at them. And so then you would choose, as a hunter, one of your cards to play, and I would choose one of mine, and we put them face down, reveal at the same time, and we check, and if you have that symbol on the side that I have there, you blocked my attack and it doesn't happen, and then I take whatever happened there. If you didn't block it, mine goes off and does damage to you, and then usually cancels out your attack. So it's kind of a rock, paper, scissors type of...
But punching beats plotting, and probably you can ban other people's weapons and such. Probably send minions also, maybe.
Yep, definitely. You can also escape as a bat after a certain number of rounds. There's ways to escape from combat and fly away as a bat. If it's nighttime, your attacks are going to be a lot stronger, and that's where you can break weapons and things like that.
And we have a time track here, and how does it work? So we have two phases, night and a day. Players get one action each phase, but what happens when we spend a whole week there?
After the token comes all the way around and a week has gone by, we add a little section to this. This will have, it doesn't yet in the prototype, unfortunately, but we'll have a 3 token section. And so we put one of them down, and for every one that's down, every time I would gain influence as Dracula, I get an extra 1. But it also makes it extra round that I can't escape from combat because I'm more prideful. So it kind of makes me stronger but weaker at the same time.
Okay, and what about the... how do we move around? Because we can see that we have multiple layers on the map.
Yep. We have roads, and you have railroads. The road is your normal mode of travel, and the only way that Dracula can travel between city to city. The railroads... heroes will take tickets for, and they're basically faster travel. But then it takes you an extra action to get your ticket ready and start traveling. But those can get you across the country really, really quickly. Otherwise, from road to road, moving from one city to the next is just one move action and takes up your either day or night action.
What about the ports with the anchors?
The ports with the anchors, for one of your movements, if you're in one of those cities already, you can hop out into the sea area, and then your next movement, you can either hop into another port city that borders that sea, or move into the next sea section. And so over the course of a couple of moves, you can go all the way from one coast to the other, whereas overland would take you easily twice as many moves or more.
Okay, nice. What about these special cards that we can see there? These seems bad.
Those are special movement cards that Dracula gets. Now, normally I just put one city and I only move one city to one city, but I have some special cards. One of them is wolf form that'll let me hop 2 cities away, basically super fast. I've got hide, which lets me actually stay in the same city, but the back of it looks like a normal city card, so the players don't know that I stayed. They think I moved one city away, when in fact I stayed right where I was. Can throw them off the trail. And then I've got different ones, feed, where I stay in the city to gain hit points back, things like that.
Okay, interesting. And so the players gain equipment through the game by an action, a search action. And you have here 2 decks of cards. What are they for?
One of them is item cards, and those are always going to be good. They're mostly weapons and things like that, crucifixes, things that you would use to battle Dracula. The other deck is event cards. Now, most of those are good and for the hunters, but there are a few that are bad, and they're for Dracula to use against the hunters. When you search, you take an item card and you take an event card. If it's daytime, you take it off the top so you can see on the back of the card whether it's a hunter card or a Dracula card, and if it's a Dracula, it just gets discarded. At night, it comes off the bottom of the deck so you don't know, and if it's a Dracula card, I get it and get to use it against you.
And they must be super strong.
They're generally really strong. Now, luckily, most of the cards in here are hunter cards, so the Dracula ones don't come out very often, but when they do, you know it.
Okay, thank you very much for this overview of the game. I think we've covered almost everything. Have you forgotten anything?
The only other thing I would say is for anyone that's played the 2nd edition a lot of the changes to it for 3rd edition is streamlining, makes stuff a lot quicker, and takes a lot of randomness out of the game. So, in my opinion, makes it a much better experience.
And it's supposed to be released... you said something about like November-ish.
That's about the most concrete they can get right now is, November-ish. It'll definitely be out by the end of the year. Unfortunately, I don't know for sure what day, but...
And do you have any knowledge about any translations into French? Translations into French.
I don't really know. Not so far.
No problem. I'm sure people can still play in the English version. Well, thank you very much, Anthony, for this overview and the time you've taken for us. And last but not least, do you know any words in French?
Oui. That's it. So I guess that's a no then.
That's yes and that's a no at the same time. Thanks. Salut, à bientôt sur Ludovox.